everyone, Animal Girl here, back with another edition of Movie Talk. And this week's video is on The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Bilbo Baggins was perfectly happy to stay in his comfy hobbit hole within the Shire and not go off on unexpected adventures. However, all that changes when the wizard Gandalf appears at his door, followed by 13 dwarfs asking for his assistance as a burglar. Bilbo soon finds himself swept up in a very unexpected adventure that will take him far from his snug hobbit hole, past the kingdom of the elves in Rivendell, and all the way to the lowly mountain to confront the great dragon Smaug. Okay, highlights of this movie. This movie was made in 2012, and it is the first of a trilogy based on the 1939 novel by J.R.R. Tolkien. And yes, the Hobbit movies do follow the entire book. And unlike the animated Hobbit movie, which kind of compresses the book down into 2 hours and skips over a lot of stuff, these three movies don't. So you actually get a lot of what happens in the books in this movie. That's why they're broken up into three movies. It follows the events of the book a lot better than the animated movie does. So I do, that is something I do like about it. Like one of the things I really loved about this movie, and I will get into this in the comparison, but I'm just going to kind of get started a little bit here. In the animated movie, the dwarfs all show up together, all at once. In this movie, as in the book, as I'm listening to the book on audiobook, the dwarfs show up one at a time. So I did like that a little bit better. It's a little more of a flow to things, and you get more of an idea of what's going on. They get more into the history of what actually drove the dwarfs from the lowly mountain and everything. And there are some things in here that really have nothing to do with the book. But they added in because they were trying to link this movie, or this trilogy, with the Lord of the Rings trilogy that came out about 10 years ago. So these movies actually came out on the 10-year anniversary of the Lord of the Rings movie, or trilogy. And it's actually basically same cast, or not really cast, but same director, same crew and everything. So they were really trying to link this trilogy, this Hobbit trilogy, with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So they do hint at things in the movie that were in the Lord of the Rings trilogy that weren't necessarily in the book, but it's still good. It's still good. They hint at Sauron, or however you say his name, and whatnot. But still, very good movie. Wonderful movie. I love fantasy adventure movies, and this is definitely a fantasy adventure movie, so I did love that. And I did like the Hobbit book. I did read the book once, about 10 years, well, over 10 years ago. And as I said before, I'm actually listening to it on audiobook, and it is one of my favorite books. Another thing I really liked about this movie is that it opens just before the Fellowship of the Ring, and we see Bilbo at 111, like he was in the Fellowship of the Rings and the trilogy and whatnot, and we see Elijah Woods, who plays Frodo in the original, not the original trilogy, in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, is kind of going about and getting everything ready, and whatnot, and he leaves to meet Gandalf, like we see in the beginning of the Fellowship of the Rings, like right after they get into all the history of where the rings came from. And Bilbo's writing down everything in his book and whatnot about his adventures and everything. And then it jumps back 60 years and we get into the actual movie. And I'm going to tell you right now that does not happen in the book. They actually jump right into the story in the book. But like I said, that was the director's way of linking this trilogy with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I actually really liked that. I thought that was a very smart way to link the two trilogies together. Okay, actors. And I'm going to say this right now. I am not going to list every single dwarf that was in this movie. There are 13 of them. That is too many. I'm just going to give you, and every single elf and whatnot. It was just too many people, so I'm just going to give you the important people. Okay. Martin Freeman played Bilbo Baggins. Ian McKellen, I believe is how you say his last name, returns as Gandalf the Grey. And he actually played Gandalf the Grey in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so he returns to play that. Also, Hugo Weaving and Christopher Lee return as Eldaron and Saruman the White, respectively. And I believe Andy Skykes, that's how you say his last name, if I'm mispronouncing it, I apologize, returns to do the voice and the movements for Gollum, as we do see Gollum in this movie. We won't see him in the other two, but we will see him in this one. And then we have Richard Armitage, I believe is how you say his last name, played Thorin Oakenshield II, who was the head dwarf. And Lee Pace played Thoradil, who was the king of the Mirwood elves. If I'm mispronouncing any names from the books, I apologize. And Sylvester McCoy, I believe is how you say his name, played Register the Brown. And yes, he's another magician. There are actually 5 of them. There is the 3 mentioned, and I believe there are 2 blues. And then Benedict Cumberbatch, I believe is how you say his last name, did the voice of Smaug the Dragon. And just small spoiler, we do not see much of Smaug in this movie. We see him at a distance, and we see his tail when he's going into the mines of the Lonely Mountain. And that's about all we see of him in this movie. We'll actually see more of him in the next movie, The Desolation of Smaug. But he looks amazing in that movie. I'm going to tell you that right now. He looks really cool in that movie. Okay. Here are the related videos to this one. Movie talk on the Hobbit, the animated Hobbit. And my 3 movie talk videos on the 3 Lord of the Ring movies. Okay, question of the week. Would you go on an unexpected journey with 13 people you just met like Bilbo did? Please leave your answers in the comment section. Also, feel free to leave your comments and questions in the comment section. I do love to read those. And please like and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And feel free to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and DeviantArt. I will have the links in the description section, but just so there is no confusion, I actually have my names posted right there on the screen. And I think they're big enough that I don't have to zoom in for you to see them. Also, please note that all pictures seen within this video belong to their respective artists. I own absolutely nothing. Okay, quick reminder on my comment rules. Okay, feel free to check out my other movie talk videos. And my movie talk special edition videos. And my other videos. As always, thank you for watching and have a very nice day.